go on a search of a mystery. How many of you saw the Raiders of the Lost Ark? Well, that's what we're going to really go on a search for. You know, remember the movie in which the archaeologist professor Indiana Jones was, by the U.S. government, was sent out to go and find the Ark of the Covenant. And so he went to all these exotic places. He went to Nepal, he went to Egypt, he went everywhere searching for this Ark. And I have also seen many, many documentaries on people that are searching for this Ark. You know, they're always looking for it. I remember there's one little place they thought it was in some little tiny country. There was a wall and this little hut. So today, let's see if we can find that Ark. So it was said to hold the keys to humanity's existence. So it's been a mystery for thousands and thousands of years. And in his search, he went all over. But at the end, the Nazis opened the Ark. They find the Ark. They open the Ark. You remember what they found inside of it? Nothing but sand, right? Nothing but sand. So actually, they did not find the Ark, but today we're going to find it. Here's my jokes, right on the second page of my thing here. Okay. So neither Indiana Jones nor the Nazis found that Ark of the Covenant. So the story is derived from the Old Testament. And I don't know if we have the video yet. Do we have the video yet? Okay, so I think Kathleen's bringing it right now. But inside, how many of you know what was inside? Remember the Ten Commandments? They talked kind of about that. Remember what was inside the Ark? What was in there? The table of testimonies, manna, a jar of manna, and the rod of Aaron. And 2 weeks ago I talked about the rod of Aaron that they throw down and it turned into a snake, which is all about our Kundalini energy. So that's really everything in there, the manna, which is the food that is within ourselves, the commandments. God said, I'll write my law on your hearts. There's no outside law anymore, but it's all inside of us. So this video is going to show us a little bit about how that ark was built. But it says, in the video, we'll get to that, but it says, in the video, it says, this is the place, the Ark of the Covenant, is the place God said, I will meet with you, and I will commune with you from between the two cherubims, which are upon the Ark of the testimony. So the most important thing about the Ark is, that's where we meet divinity. That's where we meet our source. That's where we have communion with something deeper that has the mysteries of the cosmos. That's the meeting place of divinity. He said, there, between the two cherubims, will I meet with you. So where is it? Where is this Ark today? And why are people searching for it? Because they believe that there is something that is going to empower them when they find this Ark. And it's going to empower us too. So it's important to find out today where all these things are. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Remember the book of Exodus, I spoke about last week or week before last. Exodus is all about you coming out of the bondage of the mental mind, out of the ego. It's not really about a people coming out of Egypt, because all that's typology and symbology, but it's about how do we come out of the bondage of our own minds. And that's what the Ark is about. So just like Indiana Jones, we too should be on the search for the Ark of the Covenant. I taught the Tabernacle of Moses for many years. You know, I remember when I first started reading the Bible, it had so many numbers and all this stuff. I used to skip it. I thought, you know what, who cares if it was this many cubits and that many cubits? But once I started studying it, I could see that all of those numbers have a phenomenal meaning. All of them are symbols which are really telling us something about ourselves. Let me know when that video is ready. Huh? Are we close? What did you say?
I sure will. Go down to Leslie's church down here. He's got the whole shot.
Well, we should go again. But I'm going to show you where it really is. It's not in Leslie's church. Did we say we're ready or no?
Not yet, not yet.
No. Okay. So we're not ready yet, but we'll play it in a minute. So anyway, so we should be on the search for the Ark. If the Ark is that important, if it's the place that not only does the Bible say that, but the Emerald Tablets say that's the place where we meet divinity's source. And it's the place where there is an open communication where we can begin to hear from that source about ourselves and about the cosmos. Then we need to be on the search for it too. And we are here to do that. And you know, the kingdom of God, it was said the kingdom of God is within you. And last week I talked about the single eye. It taught was the writer of the Emerald Tablets 36,000 years ago, and Jesus came with two symbols. They came with a cross, and they came with a single eye. And remember what Jesus said? If your eye be single, your whole body will begin filling with light. And Thoth gives that same thing. He comes with that single eye. And where do we find the single eye? We found it within ourselves in the pineal gland, didn't we? And that's the second slide we're not going to see yet. But anyway, so here's the picture in the slide that I was going to show you. I talked about last week. The pineal gland is the exact picture of the eye of Horus, right in the middle of your brain. You know how the eye of Horus comes down, and it's identical to the eye of Horus. So we were on the search for that single eye, and everything is within us. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven, everything you need is within you. Go to that upper room in the age of Aquarius. It's been prepared for you. Everything's there. And you will have a transformation. And that upper room is this brain. Everything that's talked about in the Bible is about your head. It's all about your head. So that picture of Horus in that single eye, it matches exactly the eye of Horus. And the pineal gland is said to provide perception beyond ordinary sight. So what we said too is when we close our eyes and we go inside, we begin to see a light that's invisible by the physical eyes. And that's why Jesus always said, if you have eyes, if you have ears, because there's a realm beyond what we see in this physical realm. And he was talking not to blind people and deaf people. He was talking to people that could see and hear, but he was pressing them to go in deeper. So it's really the gate that leads to the inner realms of higher consciousness and enlightenment. And we did a meditation last week on the pineal gland. And we began to rotate that pineal gland. And some of those things are the things that we really should be doing. And it's really a secret. Not only goes back 3,000 years to Jesus, but it goes back 36,000 years to Thoth and the Emerald Tablets. So it's that gate. And it's located in the center of our brain between, guess what, two hemispheres that are tucked in where the thalamus is. And both right in there look just exactly like the eye of Horus. And it is right there. So could Indiana Jones and the Nazis have been looking in the wrong place for that Ark of the Covenant? And it's humanity looking in the wrong place. You know, we call the Holy Grail, you know, the cup that Jesus drank out of, the Ark of Noah, all of the things we talk about physicality, all of those are inside of us when we really understand them. So where we've been looking is outside, just as the ancient mystery schools put over their doors. Know thyself. The key is when we really begin to know how our bodies are made and know ourselves, we begin to really see the divinity, that we are really made. What does it say? It says we're made in the image of God, of divine source. So when we begin to look within ourselves, within our brain, what science is finding, how did they know that 36,000 years ago? How did they know that that eye of Horus was in the brain of man? You know, that makes us wonder, too, where did this information come? It definitely came from a higher consciousness that could really see these things. So could it be that that knowledge will set humanity free when we really begin to look within ourselves like they did in the mystery schools? You know, it said in the mystery schools that they went in as men and they came out as God. And I believe the tabernacle of Moses was identical to the pyramids in the mystery schools. So anyway, the Bible says this, the truth will make you free. So both Thoth 36,000 years, and Jesus were pointing us inward to find the answers. Not to go join a group that's going on a tour to try to find the Ark of the Covenant. What is it going to do for you when you find it? You know, but when we find it within ourselves, which I'm going to show you today, that's where it is an advantage of everything. It changes everything because within you is where you can commune with divine source. Within you is where you meet with God, divine source, the Allah, whatever we want, the mother God of the universe, the one with no opposites, which is really what Father is all about. It has nothing to do with male gender. So I want to read a couple of scriptures from the Nag Hammadi library, the Book of Thomas. It says this, Christ said this, for whoever does not know thyself does not know anything, but whoever knows self already has acquired knowledge, the depth of the universe. You know, that's a powerful statement. It's saying when we truly know ourselves, Will we truly know what is deposited in here, in this mind? Why is this called a temple? You know, and I'm going to get to the thing that God says, I will never dwell in a temple made with hands. What do you think this is? This is the temple that was not made by hands. So when we know ourselves, it opens the whole cosmos to us, the whole universe. Let's also hear from an Indian metaphysical tradition which says about self-realization. It says this: it is not by argument that the self is known. Distinguish the self from the body and mind. The self, the Atman, the highest refuge of all, provides the universe and dwells in the heart of men. Those who are intellectually in the self and who practice constant meditation attain the changeless self, Atman, spirit body. Do thou likewise, and bliss will be before you. So it's saying, to know thyself, what we have to do is begin to go inside and begin to really meditate. You know, I've used this scripture so many times. It says, go into the closet, go within your, and I'm going to show you the Holy of Holies of the tabernacle is within you, and close the door on physicality, and be silent. That's another thing. Throughout all of the Emerald Tablets, and many people in here are reading them now, it talks about the power of silence. That silence is the gateway that takes us into the invisible realm. When we're talking, guess what's in charge? Our minds, our egos. But when we're still, it's a time that that spirit can take over and lead us into those deeper waters and deeper things. So silence is such an important thing in both the Bible. We have it up here. Be still and know the I am. And it goes back 36,000 years to the Emerald Tablets. So let's read another Gnostic text. And Gnostic means the knower. Direct mystical experience of the divine. And I've said this many times. You know what? You cannot know God. You can only experience God. God is not knowable. If I ask you right now, what is God? How would you describe that? You can't. It's infinite, limitless. It inhabits eternity. Just like the force energy that they found, that God particle we talked about last week, it inhabits eternity. But we are the ones that are really going inside and beginning to know, experience that mystical experience of divinity ourselves, and that's the only way we can know it. It's found in the individual spirit, an evolution of self-realization, not within the confines of, listen to this, and this is what it said, of religious dogma. You know, we drank the Kool-Aid. We drank the Kool-Aid many years ago, and we've been controlled in thinking that everything we did on the outside was going to take us somewhere, when the reality is it's all inside of us. And that's what the mystery schools teach. That's what the Emerald Tablets teach. And really, that's what the Bible teaches. So the early Roman Church tried to wipe out the Gnostics. They took all of their literature. They took everything and tried to wipe it out. They killed them. They persecuted them. If they wouldn't join the church, and guess what? The Roman Church decided who Jesus was. They decided what books would be in the Bible. They decided what you and I would believe. Way back there at the Council of Nicaea, it was all decided what we have believed today. That's when we drank the Kool-Aid. And that's really when the Dark Age began. And now we're in a time, we're in the wash cycle, when we're beginning to wash all those old paradigms out and beginning to know something different. So it says, out of the fines of religion. So here's another from the Secret Gospel of Thomas, where Christ says, I will give you what no eye has seen. I will give you what no ear has heard. I will give you what no hand has touched, and what has never arisen in the human mind. What no eye has seen, and no ear has heard. It's that invisible realm of spirit that we're able to touch in when we go into meditation and shut the world out and get in touch with that inner beingness. This describes the self that is devoid of birth, death. It neither grows old. How many of us like that? And it neither grows old or decays, and the problems of life cannot affect it. And that's the scripture that Jesus said. He said, in the world, as long as you're in your mind, you're going to have lots of problems. You're going to have tribulation. Life's going to go like this. But he said, be of good cheer. I've overcome this realm, this three-dimensional realm. I've gone where no ear can hear, where no eye can see, where no hand can touch. And when you go there, it forever changes you. And you are not connected to a three-dimensional world anymore. You can go in a higher dimensions. And here's from the Indian text. It says, no intelligence can help one realize it. It can only be realized by those who surrender to it, who make themselves worthy by grace, who engage in the practice of perfection by constant meditation. And the Bible tells us, go on to perfection. And that perfection is not what we do, it's what we realize. That we are perfect, that we are in God's image. It's so important. The ancient text and the verdict says that the process of spiritual awareness is called self-realization. And that's what it's all about, is that when we realize, what if you really believed? If you really, really, really believed that you were God, would you have any problems? Would you have any sickness? Would you have relationship problems? I mean, what would your life be like if you really had self-realization that you were divine? How would it look? How would it look? Would you be worried if you didn't have a job? Would you be worried if you didn't have enough money? You know, Jesus went and opened a fish and took the money out of the fish's mouth. I mean, what would worry you if you really believed you're God? So we're all in a process. And what we're doing today is really showing ourselves and each other how we can continue up this ladder, this process of really being self-realized, where a person lives in direct experience of reality that's called jhana, which is gnosis, or knowing. When things come down on you, are you in that experience of knowing? If you lose your job, you know, are you in that experience of knowing something better is coming into your life and pushing you into a higher dimension? I'll never forget on Oprah, I've said this many times. Oprah was having a TV show, and this gal got up, you know, all teary-eyed. She said, you know, I just lost my job, and she was going on and on. Oprah said, great! Something better is coming into your life. But how many of us live like that? When we can't pay a bill, when we lose a job, when a relationship goes sour, whatever it is, we say, you know, great. Something else is coming into our lives. That's what we're talking about, self-realization, where we have that knowledge of gnosis, that the universe is always for us, always supporting us, always taking us higher. Always, our soul knows better than we do what needs to come into our life to take us into higher consciousness. You know, we never choose the things. If we came out of here, we never choose the things that we choose to press us on to higher consciousness. We would take the easy road. You know, everybody in here always says, how many of us want change? Everybody always says they want change. But I don't see it in our lives. I see people do the same thing over and over again. We're just like the Israelites. We keep going around that mountain. It was a 2-week trip, and it took them 40 years. How many of us have been going around that mountain, around and around and around with the same problems? If you have the same problems that you had 5 or 10 years ago, something needs to change in our lives. Something needs to change in our lives for us to really begin to be self-actualized. And that's what's always pressing us. So, knowledge and gnosis, and the born again. What about the born again? The Jesus in the Eastern text. It's all about being twice born. And it's in the Emerald Tablets too. From our first human mother, an earthly place. Secondly, to the child of the goddess or divine mother, the higher mind. And who gives the seeker spiritual birth? Self-realization into a place of mystic awareness or gnosis. And that's what it's all about. We're here to have a second birth. They're right about born again. They're just not right about what we say, Jesus, I'm a sinner, you know, I repent of my sin. They're just not right about that. But there is a second birth. And remember we said too, John said, I baptize you with water, but somebody comes after me that's going to baptize you with fire, which is a higher consciousness, which I'm going to show you is the furnace that burns away the animalistic identity. That when we raise that Kundalini energy up and it comes up into here, to the furnace, to the brain, where the Holy of Holies is, where the Ark of the Covenant is, it transforms everything. It burns away everything that's not God. The Bible says God is a consuming fire. And that's exactly what the Kundalini is all about. It's raising that energy up here, where it burns away everything that's not God. That we are one, balanced, male and female. And we commune and we're connected to the divine source. And all information comes through us. That's where you're going. Do we have a video?
It was there.
Well, we'll keep talking until it's finally there. Pam, hand me that water, please. Thank you. Are we there? Almost, okay. We'll just put them in a row then.
There.
Okay, all right, we'll start with this, which I talked about 5 minutes ago. Okay, here's the eye of Horus. And here's the metal of your brain. It is the exact thing as the eye of Horus. How do they know that? 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 36,000 years ago when Thoth came holding that single eye. It's all about connecting to the single eye. If your eye be single, when you connect to this place, that the Kundalini energy is raised up and we connect to this pineal. What happened with Jacob? Remember he went to sleep and there was a ladder with angels going up and down into heaven? It's the place that connects us. And then he said, he wrestled with a man. You're wrestling right now with a man too. Within yourself until the breaking of day, until the light comes on, until you raise the Kundalini energy. And then he said, I have seen God face to face. And the name of the place was Peniel in the Bible. So it's all about this, all about raising that Kundalini energy up. Can we go to the video now? Or I'm glad there's not too many people here. We're practicing with this today. We're going to get it, though. I popped this on Kathleen this morning, so didn't give her enough time. But anyway, so first we're born of an earthly mother. Then secondly, we're born as a child of the goddess, the divine mother, or the higher mind, who gives the seeker spiritual birth and self-realization in the place of mystical awareness. And many Indian mystery traditions, bliss, the goddess, is represented by, guess what? Kim, you probably know this, the Kundalini energy. It's that goddess energy. It's the divine feminine called the Kundalini, brought forth by the practice of what? Meditation. It's when you're still. Stillness, silence is all through the Emerald Tablets. Being silent, the power of going somewhere. Being silent, turning off the TV, turning off the music, turning off the phone, turning off your friends, and going somewhere to be still and be silent and bring that Kundalini energy up. So in Scripture, Zion is described as the city of David, where the temple stands. Are we going to pull up that? No, we're not going to pull up that video. Okay, that's okay. Where the temple stands, you can take that down right now. Where the temple stands. And it denotes where the temple stands. So Zion, all of the Bible is symbolic. All the Bible is symbolic. All of the patriarchs are symbolic. All of the cities are symbolic. All of the, like when the age of Aquarius, when Jesus said, go find the guy with the pitcher. Follow him to the upper room. What is that all about? There wasn't a guy with a pitcher in those days. The men didn't carry the water in those days. So he was saying, I'm going to show you about a new age. I'm going to be with you till the end of the world. No, the end of the age, which is Pisces. Then you're going to go follow this guy that has a pitcher to the higher consciousness, which is, the room is all prepared for you. And then I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your old men, your people are going to begin to dream dreams. How many of you are dreaming dreams right now? You're going to be able to prophesize. You're going to be able to tap in to that higher consciousness once you've gone to that higher room, which is that Kundalini energy. So Zion is symbolic of Jerusalem. It's symbolic of the Promised Land. It's symbolic of heaven. It's symbolic of the place where God or divinity is, and it's the right hemisphere of your brain. It's the right hemisphere of your brain. That's the Promised Land. That's heaven. That's the place where you commune with God. And I'm going to show you, I have another picture, hopefully we can pull up where you can see, which I'm going to read the description from a medical dictionary about the brain, where the two cherubims, the Ark of the Covenant was gold, and it had two hooks on each side, which were carried on the shoulders of the priests. And on the top of the Ark of the Covenant, it said to create these two golden cherubims that faced each other on the ark. That's why I wanted you to see the picture. And I'm going to show you in your brain, there's two cherubims facing the center of your brain right there. And it's all about what's inside of your head. So what I'm saying is Zion, all of these things are symbols of the dwelling place of divinity. And it's all about the right hemisphere of your brain. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and everything else is in you. And you know, the word God, how many of you know where the word God is derived from? It's derived from an English word that means good. And it's the same thing with the devil. It's derived from an English word that means, that's it. And yeah. We're getting there. Anyway, it's derived from an English word that means evil. And what good means in Aramaic is unright. And what evil means in Aramaic is right. No, I'm totally confused with all this going on here. Right means, good means right, and evil means unright. So it's like a, how many of you would eat a banana when it's real green? Well, that can't be, Kim. You're ruining the process here. So if we eat a banana that's real green, it's very bitter. It's unripe. And then if we eat a banana that's all ripe, it's good, it's tasty. And that's the same. There is no evil. It's just those that are unripe. Because we all came out of divinity. And we're all in a process of ripening up. Some of us are ripening before others. But here's the brain. And look at here. What does that look like? The top, if I could have shown you the movie, it looks like the top of the mercy seat. It's all about your brain. You've looked for it everywhere, but guess what? It's been carried on your shoulders. You're the priesthood. The Ark of the Covenant has always been, carried on your shoulders, right there in your temple. That's the place where you commune with God. That's the place where you learn the secrets of the cosmos. When you bring that Kundalini energy up, like Taylor, they want to begin meditating. These kids are being drawn to something because their consciousness is being opened. That there's more than what religion has given us, more than what's been out there. And it's when we really go in and seek that things begin to change in our life. So God called, he said, I've come to bring the secrets. And the Bible calls them the secrets and the mystery. So one time the Emerald Tablets was called the Book of Secrets, and it is the entire Bible. How many of you have, since I've been talking about it, have gotten a book with the Emerald Tablets in them and began reading them? Well, everybody should get them. Because I'm telling you, they're life-changing. And it says, you can take that down now, and it says that the vibration of the Emerald Tablets, as you read them out loud or listen to them on YouTube, that the very vibration of the Emerald Tablets begin to change the vibration within your consciousness. Open portals because they have this magical power within them. So all of this is describing the ascension process of mankind, or the Kundalini experience. And I saw many years ago, I'm going to talk about the Bible again, the 7 days of creation in Genesis. We read through that and we think, what is it? It's the ascension. It's the opening of the 7 chakras. I saw many years ago, it was my ascension, personally. It starts with the lowest energy and it goes up to the creation of man. But it's also the collective ascension of all humanity. And the same thing as the opening of the 7 seals in the book of Revelation, the 7 trumpets, the 7 angels, the 7 churches. But on the 7th one, how many remember on the day of creation when the 7th chakra opened, what happened? Who knows? Come on, I want to see who knows. God rested from all his work, didn't he? On the 7th day he said, it's all finished. I've done it. I'm resting. That's what happens with us. When we bring that Kundalini energy up all of our chakras to the 7th chakra, to the crown chakra, it's finished for us. We have been realized. We can rest. The work is over. We begin to rest in who we are. The Bible, the Emerald Tablets, the chakra system, all of it's the same story over and over and over again. So, and it's there where we really rest from our work. And in Revelation, it talks about the 7th angel. And I've used this so many times. It says, when you hear the sound of the 7th angel, the mysteries of God are finished. And there's time no longer. That is so profound. But it's not an angel flying down from heaven, with a big trumpet. Didn't we used to visualize that? We visualize, the heavens opening and a big angel came down, blowing the trumpet. That's a clear sounding word within your Holy of Holies. When you hear that 7th trumpet, when that Kundalini energy and it comes up to that crown chakra, and you hear that clear sounding word that you are realized, you begin to know the oneness of all creation, then the mysteries of God are complete. And there should be time no longer. You're no longer fixed in this 3-dimensional world. Christ said, in the world, in 3 dimension, you're going to have problems. Guaranteed. because you have your fiction on your body and on what's going on. But I've overcome the three-dimensional world, and there's a place where you'll have no problems. And it's when that Kundalini comes up, and we are immortal. Remember what Jacob said? He said, and my life was preserved. We talk about power over death, and the power over death is when we raise that Kundalini energy up. And we begin to see what no eye has seen, and hear what no ear has heard. Because it's that invisible realm of divinity. It's the same story over and over and over again. It's the hero's journey that's in all mythology. And remember, it says God called his son out of Egypt. Remember, it says that in Revelation, those of you that know the Bible. Why? Because the soul, your light, is entombed in a material body, ruled by the lower frequencies. And what we're being called right now, all of us are being called out of Egypt. We're being called out of that bondage by that divine source, by that clear-sounding word that there's more. The word that's saying the Bible is about us personally. The word that's saying there's a golden thread between all spiritual paths. And that we're beginning to realize that. And so we're being called out of bondage, released from those lower frequencies as we bring that Kundalini energy up. And the Pharaoh who wouldn't let him go, guess who that is? That's your ego. That's symbolic of your ego. That wants to say, I want to keep, my foot in this physical world and get all the pleasure here. And I don't want to spend that time in meditation. I don't want to do those things. The ego always tries to keep us back from leaving Egypt. But if you pursue, you go out of Egypt and you get to the promised land. So who wants to stay in control and keep us in bondage? Christ was crucified in a place, and I'm just going to go through this and I'll tie it all up. Who knows what the name of the place was? It was Golgotha. And guess what it means? Where the crucifixion really took place. You think it really took place in Jerusalem? In a place like that? It's called the skull, the place of the skull. Guess where the crucifixion takes place? In the oven up here. Right up here where the Kundalini energy raises, it's called the place of the skull. It's all about your head. It's all about ascension. It's all about consciousness, the whole Bible. And remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? How many of you remember that story? I'll refresh it. There was 3 guys, and they wouldn't bend their knees to a false idol. So they said, we're going to throw you in the fiery furnace. And we're going to heat that furnace up 7 times hotter than it's ever been before. So they said, fine. So they put them in the furnace, and they see these guys walking around. But what happens is all of a sudden they're not being burned up, and there's a 4th man in there. It's the Christ that's in there with them. And it's all a picture. It's all a picture, Shadrach, of our body, soul, and spirit put into the furnace 7 times hotter, the 7 energies of the body, all about a Kundalini experience in our life. It purifies and burns everything that's not divine, but not our real self, not your spirit. It says this, God is a consuming fire. That means when we're put in the furnace, what God is consuming, it's like the bush that didn't burn, that Moses went up and saw that burning bush, but the bush wasn't burning. It's like when everything that is not divinity is being burnt up in us so the real self can come through. But if we don't have a Kundalini experience in our life, guess what happens? We just keep reincarnating over and over and over again until we do. Where we get purified is that fiery furnace, and it's the fornix of the brain. That's where we get crucified. Is where the 3 natures must go into the fiery furnace so the 4th can appear, which is the Christ. So our 3 natures, right up here, go into the fiery furnace of our fornix, and then what happens? The 4th one appears, the Christ within you. You know, a virgin brought forth the Christ. Do we think that was a physical virgin? You know, do we think that a physical virgin that had no relationships? I mean, we can believe that. Maybe that's true. All of them were supposedly born of virgins, but of course it was always in the age of Virgo, the sign Virgo, which means virgin. But what it's talking about, a purified consciousness, a virginal consciousness. As we bring that Kundalini energy up and we purify our consciousness, we too can birth the Christ. We too, you see, when we take these stories, these allegories, and we pertain them to ourselves, they mean so much more. Who cares what happened 3,000 years ago? But, we were talking about the Israelites walking through the desert and all that. Who cares? It's what's happening to you and I as we draw breath right now. So when we go into that fiery furnace, all of a sudden that fourth man appears, which is the Christ. The whole Bible and every bit of the emerald tablets is all about the 7 seals on our spine and receiving a birth of the Christ energy. It's all about that. Being birthed by that Christ energy. It's now resides in our Egypt, our bondage, a barren spiritual land, living in the carnal mind. It's all about redemption of the light of your soul. That's what the emerald tablets are about. That's what the Bible is about. It's all about how we're being redeemed. You know what I always said? You know, we talk about redemption. If we've not deemed something, we can't redeem it. Is always going back and getting it back again. So if we're being redeemed, that means we were deemed something in the first place. And we drank the Kool-Aid and thought we lost it. So now we're being redeemed and getting it back again. So the Christ, the Buddha, is the seed in the solar sun center. And it comes to fruition in each one of us when it's ready, when it's time. Only when soul light has received a constant level of maturity and wisdom. I wonder how many times we've all been around the block here. How many times we've come back in this life. Could be thousands of times. But we're in a very special time right now. Because everything in the cosmos, everything in the universe is supporting what we're doing. Everything is there to really help us. The solar flares, everything to help us raise that kundalini up and become realized. And the fire is the only element that fuses the metal together in alchemy. You know, you can't have alchemy without a fire. It's all about fusing those metals together and bringing forth gold. But that's what's really, alchemy is all about us. It's taking matter and fusing it by the fire and producing spirit out of it, bringing you back into your light body. The God energy is a consuming fire. That's the great alchemist. So what happened to the Ark of the Covenant? Let's just finish up with this today. Where is it today? Where does, and what does the Bible tell us, and what does the emerald tablets tell us about it? In the Bible, it says the ark was put behind the second,